What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Destiny 2 Forsaken weapon review video. In today's vid, I wanted to go over the Last Wish Fusion Rifle, which I believe is super underrated. It is the Techeun Force. Now, technically speaking, we actually had this fusion rifle in Destiny 1, so that's pretty cool that they actually brought it back for this raid, kind of like, obviously like the Awoken specific. But how to obtain this weapon: this is a Last Wish raid weapon, so you can get it from any of the Last Wish raid encounters, some in the secret chest, or from completing the raid challenge bounty. It has a chance to drop there as well. Let's go over the perks I have on mine. So first up, intrinsically, adaptive frame, a well-rounded grip, reliable and sturdy, 3 barrel options. We have chamber compensator, increased stability, moderate controls recoil, and slightly decreases handling speed. Then we have extended barrel, which increases range, decreases handling speed, and moderate controls recoil still. And then we have a fluted barrel, great increases handling speed and slight increased stability. I went with extended barrel. I definitely want that range. Really don't care too much about stability or handling speed on this fusion. Magazine options or battery options per se, we have accelerated coil, which gives you a faster charge time but decreases impact. Definitely did not want to go with that, considering the impact is already pretty low. So we want a projection fuse, which increases range. Definitely want that range on this fusion. Next, we have under pressure, improved stability and accuracy as the magazine gets lower, so that's pretty good. And then we have high impact reserves. Rounds at the end of the magazine deal more damage with a stability masterwork. No mod currently, but yeah. Going over the archetype, so adaptive frame, this archetype is under the 660 charge time, so it kills with 5 bolts instead of 4, like with the main ingredient and other high impact fusions. So you got to keep that in mind, considering it does take an extra bolt to kill, which means you might need to be closer up for some of your engagements in PvE and PvP alike. Some useful mods would be the counterbalance mod for PvP would keep those bolts grouped together, especially in a vertical pattern. So you can aim at somebody's chest and all the bolts will actually line up instead of just scattering everywhere. And maybe like a major spec or a rampage spec to help you take down majors or a lot of rank and file adds easier in PvE. Considering this thing is a fusion rifle, it is special, it does do a little bit extra damage, so if it doesn't come with Rampage, maybe go with the major spec to do increased damage to majors, and if it does come with Rampage, maybe put on the Rampage spec. Going over a masterwork you should be looking for, I'd go with either a stability or a range masterwork, considering those stats are where fusions can be improved for better consistency. Like, if you have a lot of range, hopefully you get a stability masterwork. If you have a good amount of stability, hopefully you get a range masterwork to even those things out. First up, going over PvE and the PvE side of Gambit, it's not too bad in my opinion. Even though it's one of the lower impact archetypes, it can be very good considering the perks that it can come with. Since it does fire fast, you can move through your enemies faster while keeping up some DPS. Even in Gambit can shed through those smaller adds and can take down blockers fairly easily, which is pretty good. So it's fairly versatile when it comes to PvE, and like, you can definitely get an assortment of perks on this thing to make it really good as well. So I think one of the only downfalls is that it won't be as good as those higher damage fusions, but again, there's a trade-off, right? You get a slower charge time, higher damage, can't move through your engagements faster, but can take down bosses easier, waste less ammo, etc., etc. There are a lot of trade-offs for fusions, but for PvE, I think if you just have a solid roll for PvE, you're going to be good. So a PvE god roll would have barrel perks that increase range stability and help with that vertical recoil pattern, magazine perks that help increase range and stability again, and then you definitely want kill clip and trait column number 1 and rampage and trait column number 2. The bad thing is that there aren't a lot of perks on this thing, especially in the trait column slot, and like there aren't a lot of good PvE perks other than kill clip and rampage for this weapon. So you really need to make sure you at least get rampage on this weapon. One of my clanmates actually got kill clip and rampage, put a rampage spec on that thing. Oh man, he just shreds in PvE. Going over the Crucible and the PvP side of Gambit, it's definitely a different way to play, to say the least. Most people end up using the higher impact fusions so they can kill in 4 bolts and shoot farther away, etc., etc. Whereas this archetype of fusion has to kill in at least 5 bolts, so you need, well, on a full health Guardian, I should say, so you need to be sure you're within a fairly close range to make sure all those bolts connect. With mine having under pressure and high impact reserves, I get an increase to how consistent the bolts are and a boost to damage at the end of the mag, which is good considering that you only start out with two like shots in the mag anyway, so it's going to help out pretty well. You can definitely feel under pressure working. It keeps those bolts very close together, and with that extra damage, it might even take 4 bolts anyway, so you're going to be doing, it's almost like having a high impact fusion for those like last 2 bolts, which is pretty solid, but still. I would say the one upside is that it does fire fairly quickly, so you can move through your engagements faster. But again, you have to consider that you might need to fire extra, like an extra shot or extra rounds if you're too far away. So you definitely have to play to your fusion rifle's perks. Like with mine, like I try to keep the mag low. Well, I'm not trying to say I keep the mag low. Like I definitely like having fusion rifle ammo, but then when the mag is low, I know in my head that I can consistently kill people from farther away than if I had it like at a full magazine size, right? For things like Gambit on that PvP side, I don't think it'd be too good considering most of your engagements are out of range, but if you can get close enough to use this fusion, I feel like you could probably shred through some Gambit opponents fairly easily. So, going over a PvP god roll, it'll have barrel and battery perks that increase range stability and potentially even increase the charge time to have that higher impact. When I say increased charge time, I mean the charge time is longer, so keep that in mind. You'll want Under Pressure or Kill Clip in trait column number 1, and Backup Plan, Rampage, High Impact Reserves, or Rangefinder in trait column number 2. Trait column number 2 has, those are the 4 options, and they're all very, very good options. So when it comes to finding a good PvP roll, it should not be too hard to find with one of these. Going over some useful exotics and perks, I can't think of any relevant exotics, but any fusion perks like Targeting, Unflinching, Dexterity, definitely Scavenger perks, etc., can help out your gameplay a lot. I know I rocked 2 Scavenger perks, so I always had a lot of fusion ammo. I also rocked Unflinching and Rifle Dexterity, so we're doing pretty solid in the fusion rifle department for this gameplay. Going over my final thoughts, overall, this isn't the strongest archetype of fusion rifle, but it's definitely usable if you have the right perks available and know how to play toward those perks. You know what I mean? Like for mine, like Under Pressure and High Impact Reserves. Like those two go together like peas in a pod. So I already know when my magazine gets low, I can kill more consistently at a range with this weapon. Like even in things like PvE, if you have a Rampage and a Kill Clip one, you can maximize your DPS just by doing like getting Rampage 3 all the way up, then proccing Kill Clip, and then you'll have a lot more damage when it comes to taking out majors and stuff like that. So you definitely have to play towards this thing's perks. Now that we're at the end of the video, there's 3 things I want to tell you guys. So number 1, my clan, the D1 Fire Team, is looking for active players in the Destiny community. Our members play all sorts of activities from casual PvE and PvP to the endgame content like any of the raids, Shattered Throne, stuff like that. If you're actively playing Destiny 2 and want the benefits of a bigger clan, the link to join is below. We're multi-platform, so we have Xbox, PS4, and PC players. All you have to do is request to join, and myself or one of the admins will approve you. Number 2, if you'd like to know how to support me, there's a link below that says best way to support me. That'll take you to a 4-minute video. If you want to go check that out, that'd be awesome. But if you don't want to do that, you can always like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video, and all that like content creator good jazz if you want to do that. Third thing, Discord. We have a link to the Discord below. Just a heads up, we're looking for anyone with moderator experience to potentially kind of run the Discord. It's not like super huge or anything like that, but for myself, I'm more of a player versus being a manager, you know, so I really don't know a lot about that stuff, but if you are someone who can be a moderator, awesome, just let me know. I know for myself, I'm on Xbox, but if any of you guys would like to talk to me or chat to me, Discord is going to be the best way to do that. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this video. We'll catch you next time.